Hey YouTube, this is Jake with the Garbroders, and today we're doing a video on my top 10 favorite GX Pokemon. Before we start this list, I just want to say we're only choosing GXs that are currently obtainable in English, and these are my picks, so if yours are different, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Without further ado, we're going to get right into this video. Number 10 is Snorlax GX. I put Snorlax at number 10 because it's a big basic that can tank hits and can attack for colorless energy. I've seen some people splash this into decks if they're running a lot of energies and are looking for a good tech attacker. Also, its GX attack is almost a one-hit knockout on everything. The reason it's at the bottom of the list is because it doesn't have a good partner, and I don't see it getting one anytime soon to make a deck with. So for right now, it is at number 10. Number 9 is Incineroar GX. For number 9, I put Incineroar because of its first attack, Hustling Strike. You're able to use this with things like Nestball and Bridget to fill up your bench with fire Pokemon and hit things like Laurentis and Mega Sceptile for weakness. I would have put it higher, but until Sun and Moon 2 comes out, it won't have the new Oricorio, so it's not the best right now, but I'm sure it'll be going up once the next set comes out. On to number 8. Number 8 is Gumshoes GX. Some people might find this surprising, but I think Gumshoes GX is pretty good. It's a bulky stage 1 that can sit on your bench and allows you to look at your opponent's hand whenever you want. It's really helpful and essential when you're thinking about playing something like Red Card, N, or Judge. If you look at your opponent's hand, you can know if you really want to have them have another chance to get a brand new hand. Because if it's really bad, you kind of want to keep them with that. Its GX attack can also be helpful if you're playing against something like Yveltal or Mega Mewtwo that stacks up a lot of energies on one Pokemon. And it's almost a free one-shot if you're in those two matches. That's number 8. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is Lycanroc GX. In our 7th spot, we have the barely released Lycanroc. It's very good because you can take advantage of things like Strong Energy and Regirock EX. You will mainly be using the first attack, Crunch, for fighting energy, and I think a colorless. It does 30 damage, and you can discard an energy from your opponent's active. If you play things like Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer and Team Flare Grunt, you can build a very good energy disruption fighting deck that can hit for a lot of damage for little amounts of energy. That's all I have to say about Lycanroc. Let's go to number 6. For number 6, we have Lapis GX. This is a very good card in the Water Toolbox deck that plays things like Manaphy EX, Regice, Palkia EX, and Articuno. Its first attack is called Collect, and it allows you to draw 3 cards. Normally, I'd be offended by this attack actually, because it does the same thing as another card that we do not speak of on this channel. But it's not the worst attack, because if you go second and you have nothing else to do in your turn, you can draw 3 cards to prepare yourself for next turn. The second attack is called Blizzard Burn. For 3 water energies, it allows you to do 160 damage, but you're not allowed to attack next turn. Alone, this card would be way lower on the list, but since you can use things like Pokemon Ranger to be able to attack anyway, and since you're going to be running Manaphy in the deck, you can free retreat into a different Lapis GX and use the same attack, and you'll have a never-ending loop of barraging 160 damage, which is very good. And lastly, its GX attack. It's Ice Beam GX for 2 water and a colorless. It does 100 damage and your opponent's paralyzed. It's kind of lackluster compared to the other GXs in the format, but it's not the worst attack. That's it for Lapis. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is Soakaway GX. It's a stage 2, which makes it kind of hard to fit into a lot of decks, but there's a couple of common partners that I see it playing against, which are Laurentis GX, Lunala GX, and Scizor GX or Mega Scizor GX. Its ability is pretty much a free switch every turn. I don't think I've ever played a game without thinking, I wish I had a switch in my hand right now, but with Solgaleo there's no need to worry. Its only regular attack is called Sunsteel Strike, and it does 230 damage, almost knocking out everything in the game. But you have to discard all energies attached to Solgaleo, and that attack takes 2 metals and 1 colorless. Finally, its GX attack, which is the main reason I would use this in a deck. It allows you to search up for 5 energy cards of any kind, which include DCEs, Double Dragons, Rainbow Energies, every basic energy you can imagine, 5, and attach them to any of your Pokemon in any way you like. So if you have something like a Lugia EX on the bench, you can put 4 DCEs on it and Metal Energy if you wanted. That's why it has partners like Laurentis and Lunala to be able to get rainbows and move them around, use Max Potion, all kinds of different partners. But that's all I have to say about Soakaway. Let's move on to number 4. These top 4 are going to be obvious, but this is the order that I chose at least. For number 4, I put the Sigil GX. It's primarily good for its ability Feather Arrow. It allows you to put 2 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon whenever you or not whenever you like, but for each Decidueye you have out on the field, you can put 2 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon wherever you want. And you can do that once per turn. So if you have 3 Decidueye GXs, you can put 20 damage 3 times wherever you want. You can use things like Force the Giant Plants to accelerate them straight up and have as many Decidueyes as you want set up on one turn. You can also use things like De-Evolution Spray to be able to use the effect multiple times on one Decidueye. And that's just its ability. Its only real damaging attack is Razor Leaf, and for 1 Grass Energy and a DCE it does 90 damage. You are hitting for weakness on anything like Palkia EX, which can be good, Lapis GX, which are seeing a little bit of play right now. And if any water Pokemon that are weak to grass come up in the future, then that'll be good. Its weakness in Seismitoad and Expanded. And now its GX attack for 1 Grass Energy. It uses Hollow Hunt, which is you put 3 of any card you want from your discard pile into your hand. So if you have a bunch of VS Seekers in their late game, you can Hollow Hunt them back and continue to use VS Seekers after VS Seekers. That's all I have to say about the Decidueye. Let's move on to the final 3. For number 3, we have Laurentis GX. This card will most of the time be used for the first attack, Flower Supply, which does 40 damage and allows you to get 2 basic energies from your discard pile and attach them anywhere you want. It's some of the best acceleration in the game, for energies at least, and like I mentioned earlier, it's a good partner with Solgaleo. Its second attack is Solar Blade. For 2 grass and a colorless, it does 120 damage, and you get the heal 30 from this Pokemon. And finally, its GX attack, for 1 grass energy, it does Chloroscythe GX. This attack does 50 damage times the number of grass energies attached to Laurentis. Most of the time you won't be using it in a grass deck. You might have grass energies or rainbow energies attached to it to get basic energy. So I doubt you'll be using Chloroscythe most of the time. Let's get on to number 2. Our number 2 pick is Umbreon GX. This card is all around amazing. It's a 200 HP stage 1 that evolves from an Eevee, which means you can get it out in one turn with Energy Evolution, which is Eevee's ability. Its first attack is Strafe. For 1 Dark Energy, it does 30 damage and allows you to switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. Its second attack is called Shadow Bullet. It does 90 damage and then 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. If you've been into the game for a while, you might recognize this attack from Dark Explorer's Darkrai EX, but Umbreon is even better. It can do the same attack for 1 Dark and a DCE, which Darkrai had to have 2 Darks and 1 colorless, so 2 energy attachments for the same attack. Lastly, its GX attack is called Dark Claw GX, and you can use it for 1 Dark and 1 colorless energy. It allows you to discard 2 of your opponent's energies wherever you want on the field. It's mainly good against Vespiquen decks because most of the time you'll be using this in a deck like Yveltal, which has a strong weakness against Vespiquen due to Zebstrika. So if you can get rid of 2 of their 4 DCEs that they're running, that can severely wound them and maybe even win you the game. That's it for number 2. I'm sure you could guess number 1, but just in case not, let's move right on to it. Finally, our number 1 pick, from the most broken card, I mean Poros GX. Haha. This card, in my opinion, is by far the best Pokemon in the set. It has 180 HP, and it's a basic that can use Fighting Fury Bell to boost it to 220. All of its attacks cost 1 double colorless energy. Its first attack is called Rage. Rage does 20 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So if you get really hard, you can return the same damage plus 30 more, assuming you have a Fighting Fury Belt. Its second attack is Horn Attack, and it just does 60 damage. And normally this wouldn't be a special attack, really. But if your opponent is too afraid to attack you, which sometimes they are, you can use this to consistently put 60 to 70 damage on it each turn, so they're kind of forced to attack you, or else all of their Pokemon are just going to die. And finally, its GX attack. It's called Mad Bull GX. This attack does 30 damage times the number of damage counters on Tauros. So if you get hit for about 70 damage and use that GX attack, it's almost a free knockout on anything in the game, being that you're doing 210. That wraps up this top 10 video. If you guys enjoyed, let us know, and we can do more top 10s. If you're new, don't hesitate to subscribe. We're doing the Road to 100 against Jackaholic animations. And also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.